So what's up, y'all? CaveMam is back. I got an Upchurch song today. I saw that he released Desperado, and I've been waiting for this one. And I know there's a couple more. Back when I reacted to Holler Boys, Ryan gave me a temporary link to let me check out, just get a taste of some of his upcoming music. You know, I said all that I said about Built Like That, and he knew how much I love that. I mean, to proclaim it was my favorite song of all time, and still is to this day. So I've heard a version of this song. I don't know that I heard the final copy, but I like it. This was in one of the several songs I did get to hear. This is one of my favorites, but not my favorite, and probably in the top 3, but there were 1 or 2 that potentially I liked even more at the time. So I'm curious to hear the final product here. And I'm just excited to tell you that if you guys like this one, there's a couple more that I may have already tasted that I think I like maybe as much as Built Like That. Can I say that? So anyway, immediate future with Upchurch is fire. But you guys have been saying that for years. I'm a newcomer. So let's check this out. It says Upchurch Desperado official music video, hashtag Upchurch, hashtag Desperado, hashtag Outlaw, and hashtag Raise Hell Eat Cornbread. I learned it. So anyway, let's check this song out right now.
I am a leader, you shouldn't follow. Hard to keep up with, though, I'm desperado. Taking curves at 80 miles an hour plus. Engine block scraping, making asphalt. Metallic.
Outlaws. So we got the Outlaw Motorcycle Club here. A 1% club, huh? GFOD. I'm not even sure what that stands for. Can somebody help me out with that? Does he ride with the Outlaw? It's funny. This is coming up in this song because I have been, like, myself kind of seriously thinking about getting a Harley and possibly trying to find some homies to ride with, you know what I mean? A 1% club? Maybe not. I don't know. It just depends. I know what's portrayed on TV as far as, like, what's that TV show? What's that TV show called about? It starts off with the Vagos and who's the second club? I can't remember what the second club is, but I watched some of that. Gangland, that was it. I know some people in some of those clubs, and you know, things you hear on TV and, you know, TV shows about even like prison, you know, like, oh yeah, they're gonna rape you in prison or something like that. You know, I know some people who've done some long trips and they come back and they say, man, that ain't gonna happen to you unless you want it to happen to you. So not to say that maybe it couldn't happen, but you know, how much of this televised, you know, 1% biker club or whatever, how much of it is really real? Is it that hardcore? I know I don't want to get mixed up in something that hardcore, but to be like a hang around, or it's got an allure to it, man. I don't know. I love bikes. So anyway, shout out to all the clubs, because I don't want to get in the middle of any of that, but I do love bikes. Let's hear.
Scallop in a hillside, bicycle from the tree, shaking as we all roll by. Moss on my roof, but only on the south side. Marks on my boots, from scooting through my outline. I am the leader, you shouldn't follow. Hard to keep up with, though, I'm desperado. Hard to keep up with, though, I'm desperado. Don't try to keep up with me. I live on the edge, too thin to see. I was earth and to be a backwoods seed. On my back is where the word backwoods be. Because the backwoods never turned its back on me. Heart of a small town, roots of the home team. Ride through the city like I don't sing. Rugged old Chevy and a stay white.
We can't leave it paused there. You can't leave it paused there.
I am a
right there. That's a good spot to pause, right? Looking tough. Anyway, when you come from a different area, you may not get it, okay? These guys wearing this jacket don't get this guy wearing this jacket, right? Like, this is just some old ass jacket. It may or may not become cool again, if ever. I'd much rather have a vest with some patches on it like that. Super cool, man. I'm seriously thinking about it because my 74-year-old dad got on a Harley. He rides a trike, He's 74. And he rides hang around with a club. And it's pretty cool. It's a Christian club, not a 1% club by any means. But I like it. Matter of fact, for Christmas, I ordered him some patches, and I don't know all the politics about the patches. It's got wings, and it says Christian Rider. So it's not, I don't believe, associated with any clubs. And I know that would be a serious no-no. Rocker on the top, also 12-inch or so, maybe bigger, but it said Brotherhood, and then a bottom rocker, independent. I was trying to put something together that my dad might be able to roll, but I'm gonna tell him straight up. You ask the the other OG homies, 70 and 80-year-old guys my dad rolls with, that are part of this other club, who I don't want to mention. Is it all right? Does it fit with the politics? Because I know there's a lot of politics there, like everything else. But what I'm really trying to say is, depending on what pocket of the world you live in, we may not understand. Like, I got some comments on my last, I think it was the Tom McDonald video I did, Fighter. I mentioned that some of the lyrics in Upchurch's last song didn't really resonate with me too heavy, because I'm really feeling there's a spiritual battle in the world, and I really want to be on the one side of it, right? The more kind of trying to live righteous and, according to God, right? Like, there's a real urge in me to be like that. But I got a comment from a Hangover Gang, which I love. I love Hangover Gang. Somebody in that group that was like telling me about Ryan Upchurch, and I guess his mom does some sort of fire rituals or something like that out at Ghost Ranch, and that, maybe Ryan associated with some other stuff that a typical fundamentalist Christian person would try to say is satanic. And, I just want to remind people, when you get in a group and you get surrounded by that, you alienate everyone else, and you possibly are doing that wrong. Jesus said, like, he who has no sin, you can cast the first stone, right? Well, that's none of us. And he said, let me be the judge. And that's not what we do. We spend our entire life judging everybody for something that we don't even have right in our head. Let's remember, when the Americas were sort of populated, it was by people who were trying to get away from King James because they believed that King James was changing the Bible. And yet we come out here, and we've been out here, and now the whole narrative has changed, right? King James is suddenly the version of the Bible that most Christians consider to be the one to trust. Now, isn't that something? And I want to say, we're a week before Christmas now. And I just want to remind Christians, those who know, those who've been able to research it, Christmas is a pagan holiday. It's not in the Bible. It's not celebrating Jesus' birthday. Not really. Jesus wasn't born this time of year. Jesus wasn't his name. So there's a whole lot of pagan things. If you really dive deep, it's more about the sun. It's coming from sun worship or things like that, So who knows what's right? And that's my point about judging, Didn't Christians kill the witches? Is it necessarily that the witches were doing anything wrong? Are you sure? Do you know? No, you don't know. So don't judge. When it comes down to a lot of those things, let me tell a quick story real quick. I don't always know that what I'm doing is right. And that's why I think I'm right. Because I'm secure enough to admit that I'm not really secure in any of it. But I keep myself open to receive things. I remember this time, Mrs. Realistic and I were pretty scriptural for a long time, trying to interpret it the way we interpret it. And this story is about voodoo. And so I met this couple, a Christian wife and a reformed guy that was in like 4 generations of like some sort of a voodoo religion, where his father and his father and his father for like 3 generations were like these voodoo priests, if that's the right word to say. And I don't remember the exact names, and you know what, it doesn't matter. But he was explaining to me how he was starting to consider that maybe this voodoo thing was like satanic, because he met this, really pretty white Christian girl and got married to her and had a couple kids, and her beliefs mixed with his beliefs, and he could see connections, and he thought, oh man, maybe the power is coming from demons or whatever. And I was sort of opened up to accepting a lot. And in that, he was telling me a story, and he said, we hadn't really done anything with them before. It was like the first time we had them over to our house. And he was like, we were going to go skateboarding the next day. He had a bunch of kids. My kids were skateboarding. This is at the beginning of our skateboard channel. But we had gone to the skate park like a lot for maybe a whole year already. And he said, I could say this, and he's explaining the way these voodoo ceremonies would work. And they would boom, 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 and bang the drums. And I was explaining to him, okay, yeah. So what you're doing is you're getting people's attention. You're distracting them. You're getting them focused on the beats and blah, blah, blah. And then you're getting them to believe like, oh, there's some power in this. And he's like, yeah, exactly. And he goes, but I could tell you that tomorrow you're going to go to the skate park and you're going to break a leg. And when I heard that happen, I immediately thought to myself, it went back to my Christian roots, my hardcore Christian Baptist, the Southern Baptist roots, and say, dude, this is heavy. Maybe I should get this guy out of here, right? Because he was getting me with his story. He was starting to capture my focus and my energy and my belief in a way. And then I stopped myself and I said, I don't have to fear anything but fear. Jesus said this, Jesus said that. He has no power over me with his words. And I said to him, and he like warned me, don't say it. And I said to him, I said, listen, you might have the power to break somebody else's leg at the skate park, but not mine. And he goes, no, don't get it wrong. I don't want to break your leg. I'm just saying that whenever these things happen, somebody breaks a leg, because he thinks about it, right? Like he thinks this is a true story. So the very next day, I decided to let him stay over, and I'm going to try to witness to them in my way and say that if I don't buy into the power, it won't affect me like that. But what was crazy about the story is the next day we met out at the skate park, and one of his kids invited the neighbor kid for the first time to come to the skate park with them. They had like 4 kids or something like that. I have 3 kids. Everybody's out there skateboarding. And out of a year of going to the skate park like every weekend, the kid that he brought collided with another random kid, and we hear this, and they crash, and we look over, and this one kid is laying on the ground. He broke his leg. Tib and fib together. Boom, like from the knee down was like snapped. And we even got pictures of it that day. None of us realized that we said anything until the next day. That night I'm laying in bed and I'm reminded of the conversation that happened the day before. And I'm like, man, a year of going to the skate park, I've never seen anyone break any bone at all. And the very next day, after the night before, he's telling me the story about, I could say, you're going to break your leg the next day, and you will. And I said, you won't be able to do it to me because I don't believe you. You might be able to break someone else's leg, but not mine. I mean, did I in some way agree with him where it's like the Bible says, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I will be there to follow it up and see it through? Like, I don't know. And I'm just saying I don't know. But in saying that, I'm telling you also, you don't know, Christian. You don't know. We don't know. Those people, they who killed Jesus, they who put the canon of the Bible together, they are probably trying to mislead. I'm not saying that there's not gold nuggets of truth piled up in that scripture, because I know there is. Those nuggets are also tied up into every other belief system in the world. Those witches that you want to call demonic, they got truth, heavy truth. All those other Eastern religions, there's so much truth in all of them. And in Christianity, I mean, let's look at Catholicism. Come on. What are you going to say about that, Christian? What is the Catholic going to say about everybody else? Like, dude, humble yourself. Realize. Don't alienate that other person. Instead, debunk yourself a little bit, right? I ain't trying to... Look, the Bible says, don't do like the heathens and bring a tree into your house and decorate it. It says that in the Bible. But yet somehow there's a Christian holiday called Christmas? Come on. I got a tree out there. I like celebrating it with my kids. But let's not think that we're the only true religion and everybody else is wrong and it's somehow satanic. I think that truth and lies are in every person, and it's our important thing to follow it within ourselves. If you think it's going to hurt you, it's going to hurt you. And if you think it's not, stick with that. That's all I'm saying. Man, let's hear the rest of this song.
Shouldn't follow. I just keep up with the wild desperado. Taking curves at 80 miles an hour plus. Engine block scraping, making asphalt. Metallic car scallop in a hillside. Pipes echo from the trees, shaking as we all roll by. Moss on my roof, but only on the south side. Marks on my boots from scooting through my outline. I am the leader, you shouldn't follow. I just keep up with the wild desperado.
I am the leader, you shouldn't follow. It's hard to keep up with the wild desperado. Dude, so rad. The Outlaws. I find a pull to that motorcycle club thing, man. Like, I got a crotch rocket in my garage. I need to go trade that in. It's a Yamaha. I need to go trade that in on American-made Harley, right?
Hard to keep up with the wild desperado. I'm a big brother, I'm a older cousin, I'm a redneck from the south, I'm a rapper, I sing country. Always 2 forms of buzzing when taking pictures in public. I think Waylon will be proud and Biggie Smalls will think it's stuffing, motherfucker. Catch me.
He's right about that. He's like all music combined.
Cruising mid-10 rows, sleeping on the windshield from radar up on the 5-0. Catch me downtown wild on the rooftop, winter circle shit spray.
Is it Indian American-made bike? Is it? I want to find out real quick. So I did not know that Indian motorcycles are made in Iowa, right? I just kind of looked that up. Super short version look up, so I still could be wrong, but I think that's what it said. So I know a lot of the 1% clubs want you to ride, not want you to ride, you have to ride American-made bikes. So that's really what I would rather have anyway. And if Indian, it's nice to know there's another option, except for sometimes highly overpriced Harley Davidson, right? You can't knock a Harley, but I like Indian too. There we go.
Something with a cork top. I know where I'm going without knowing where I'm going. Alien mind glowing, regular say mind blowing. When in my head, cause the winning road keeps flowing. I'm one of a couple writing musical components.
Okay, I gotta hear that again. That was just straight fire right there. And I think that's what I appreciate so much about Upchurch. because there's lots of dudes that can rap and sound good. And definitely Upchurch has that punch to his music. When he spits out the bars hard in the beginning, I'm always getting amped up and kind of psyched up when I hear him drop like the first word. The way he comes in it's like a punch in the face kind of. But when he gets into this where he drops it kind of off key and off tempo, or I don't even know if it's off, because in me it's on. It hits totally on. Let me hear this again.
Radar up on the 5-0. Catch me downtown wild on the rooftop. Winter circle shit, spraying something with a cork top. I know where I'm going without knowing where I'm going. Alien mind glowing, regular say mind blowing. When in my head, cause the winning road keeps flowing. I'm one of a couple writing musical components. I am a leader, you shouldn't follow. Hard to keep up with a wild desperado. Taking curves, it 80 mile an hour plus engine.
Okay, so some of you guys know I ride a crotch rocket before. Is that kind of cheating? I mean, to do a burnout like that, is it kind of cheating? You put it, I mean, I think you sort of have the balls to hit that the right way, right? I mean, trust your brake, trust your skills. I mean, maybe pour a little oil on the ground first. I don't know. I feel like it loses its quality when you're up against the wall. Just saying. You got to risk flying and hitting the water tank on the other side of the compound or something. Anyway, I've never ridden a Harley like this, so can I speak on it? Nah. Maybe not, but on my crotch rocket, that wouldn't have counted.
Block scraping, making asphalt dust. Metallic car scallop in a hillside. Pipes echo from the trees, shaking as we all roll by. Moss on my roof, but only on the south side. Marks on my boots from scooting through my outline. I am a leader, you shouldn't follow. Hard to keep up with the wild desperado. Hard to keep up with the wild desperado. Hard to keep up with a wild desperado.
Boom. There it is. I love that song. I love the video. I definitely would find this so far definitely with Built Like That and Holler Boys. For sure. It's definitely, I would say, so far in my top 3. As soon as I say that, I go, well, no, top 5. No, top 3 probably, because I like the outlaw footage here. I'm sort of wired that way. Like there's a real draw for me to be in a club like that. With all that said, I don't know what else I can say, because I've said probably too much already. But let's realize, people, instead of finding differences in each other for reasons to fight and slander and talk shit, let's realize that there's pieces of truth in everything and everybody. And let's not think that we're so perfect all the time. And then maybe we can all accept each other for what we are and move forward a little bit. Because in the end, I think it's us against them. Who's them? I don't know. You're going to have to figure that out later.